Hi, I'm Lloyd.
And I'm Chris.
And we are the
BMF Bros. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at why the white sneaker is an essential building block in creating your new wardrobe. So Lloyd, I just want to see what your thoughts were on that and really what makes white sneakers an essential part.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to build your wardrobe and you need to get some footwear, the white sneaker is the perfect place to start. It's just ultimately the versatility. You can use it in the most contexts with the most colors. It almost always works, and that also means you have to think less about it, right? So you can dress it up with dress pants or dress it down with jeans or shorts. It'll work either way. You can wear it with almost any other color because it's such a neutral tone. And there's just something that a pair of clean white shoes says about you. And when I say clean, I mean relatively. I also don't necessarily suggest that you scrub your shoes every day and you look like you're wearing Air Force Ones in the late 90s.
Or shoes that your mom just bought you a few days ago.
That too.
A little worn in doesn't look too bad. So
yeah, for sure. We think that if you're gonna get any pair of shoes to start building your wardrobe, the white sneaker is probably the best place to start, and there are tons of options out there on the market. Yeah, so for today, Chris and I both came up with 2 recommendations each. We'll kind of contrast what we like about them.
As Lloyd said, we're going to be looking at 2 each. We do have quite a handful of white sneakers. I think I have about 7, 6 or 7 kind of sitting there on the floor for us to review. So we're going to pick 2. And we'll talk about some other ones we might like. All right, let's do it.
Cool. So for my first pick, I'm going to go with the obvious choice, the Common Project's Achilles.
Yes, definitely no surprise there.
I mean, you've probably seen 8 reviews of this shoe already, but there's a reason for that. So here's a quick look at my shoes. They're a little bit worn in, as you can see. They have some battle scars, but I just love these shoes. Every time I look at them, I just feel like they're the perfect silhouette. They really have a flattering effect on how your foot looks. The way I like to describe it is I really feel like these become an extension of my foot as opposed to looking like some, clogs on my foot, right? That there's a very seamless transition from my pants to my shoes. And that's important to me for whatever reason. I think you'll hear me say this more throughout these videos, but I'm really all about iconic things and timeless things. The Common Project's Achilles are basically the shoes that kicked off the whole luxury white sneaker fad. Today you'll have other options out there, whether it be Greats or Oliver Cabell or even Suit Supply. And I think those options are all great alternatives. If you want a little bit more detail, I know the Cavalier on YouTube does a great job of walking through the in-depth differences between the shoes and the quality of the leather. From more of a stylistic perspective, I just feel like the lines of this shoe are just perfectly proportioned, and it just stood the test of time. I first came across these shoes maybe 11 or 12 years ago, back when I was still in school. I remember seeing them, I think in GQ, and thinking to myself, wow, those sneakers look so cool. I really wish I could have a pair of those. Then I saw the price tag and I quickly walked away. But 12 years later, I still look at these shoes and I still think they look great. The minimalist branding, I love that kind of utilitarian look of just the digits here in kind of a goldish color. That's basically the model and the size of the shoe. And, maybe just for a quick comparison, I also have a pair of Givenchy shoes, which were clearly inspired by these Common Projects. And, these are nice too, but ultimately I just feel like there's just not the attention to detail like the lines. So if you look here on the back, I feel like the sole is just a little bit higher, but that makes a difference. The overall shoe feels a lot more chunkier rather than streamlined, right? Even the toe box, you'll know that it pops up a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I love how flat the toe box is on the Common Projects. It really does kind of elongate your foot, and it becomes an extension of your foot to the point where it just works well with everything, as opposed to trying to make its own statement, which, I'm not a big fan of like these little what are these things?
Knots.
This is just completely muted, but it's the proportions that make it perfect. And so I prefer this over any of the alternatives, even though it's probably a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
And the price tag is high, but these should, if with proper care, last you 2, 3, 4 times as long as the Nike sneakers you pick off the shelves. And honestly, let's be honest. Like, if you want to get a pair of Yeezys today, the Yeezys are going to cost you $300 USD retail.
Yeah.
You know, these are a little bit over $400.
Just BMF.
I mean, those Yeezys you're probably not going to like in a year, right? Like, that's the reality. Like, this doesn't have any of that kind of trend or fad like flash in the pan result. It's a much more timeless design.
Yeah, and as Lloyd put it, right, he saw it in GQ about 11, 12 years ago, and they're still a good looking shoe. I mean, I have them as well. As you can see here, I've had these for maybe, 4 years now, and I gave them a good quick clean, and they still look pretty good. And they look stylish and cool without looking like you're trying too hard. The only negatives are, once again, the price point. They are about 400 USD. You can find them on sale occasionally for this particular white color. Not a cheap shoe.
Yep.
And it's not all that comfortable, although you can break them in. The leather is pretty thick, so they're not very breathable. But I think for the look, the style, I think it's well worth the discomfort.
Yeah. I'm willing to take a little bit of discomfort to look better. The other point to make is that when you're buying a pair of these, just know that they don't have half sizes and their sizing is European. So I'm typically a size 8 in most of my shoes, mostly Nike shoes. In these, I am a size 40, which is the equivalent of a size 7. So kind of working up from there, 41 would be size 8, 42 would be size 9, so on and so forth. They should be worn at least a size down in my experience. Is that been what you've seen as well?
Yeah, some about 11 in most shoes. I went for a size 43 in the Common Project, which is equivalent to a size 10. So yeah, full size down. They do run a little bit narrow, but they're very long. So definitely go size down.
They're not too narrow though.
They'll break in.
Yeah.
All right, for my pick, I'm going with the Chuck Taylor 1970. So Converse Chuck Taylor. I actually have 2 pairs. I have the high version as well as the low version here. So why is the Chuck Taylor my pick? Once again, truly iconic shoe. Started off as a basketball shoe, if you can believe it or not. I would definitely recommend going for the 1970 version. So there are 2 versions of the Chuck Taylor. The higher quality 1970 version with the nicer canvas and the nicer kind of sole here, which makes them far more comfortable than the originals that you'll find in the stores.
Isn't there like a Chuck Taylor 2 as well?
Oh, there's a Chuck Taylor 2, but that's actually been discontinued.
Oh,
so that had like the lunar lawn.
They're a little bit chunkier though.
They're a little bit chunkier and they are discontinued. So
yeah.
But it's also good to know, so thanks for adding that.
Of course.
So the Chuck Taylors, I've been wearing these shoes since I could remember as a young child, and now I am an old Asian man, and I'm still rocking the Chuck Taylors. So
don't let his Asian face fool you.
Yeah, I'm old. Couple things about the shoe. They're relatively comfortable, but definitely not as comfortable as other just kind of running shoes. Price point wise, I believe these are about $90 Canadian. Far less than the Common Projects that we just looked at, but still very versatile. Can wear them with denim, chinos. Probably wouldn't wear the highs with shorts, but I have seen that pulled off. You'd probably opt for the lows if we were going to be wearing shorts. In terms of size, I'm typically a size 11 across the board in Nikes, occasionally 11.5 in Air Max 1s, Jordan 1s, Jordan 3s, Jordan 4s, Air Max 95s. Basically every Nike, I'm typically 11, but with the Converse Chuck Taylor, I size down to a size 10, so full size down. Anything you want to add, Lloyd?
I mean, look, these are iconic shoes, and I like I said before, I love iconic shoes. We were talking about the importance of versatility, and these are versatile shoes. They work really well in any setting. You can have a bit of that kind of punk rock edge to it if you want, or it can be a lot more preppy if you want. It really works both ways. I would say it doesn't function quite as well in a dressed up setting, so it might not look as good with dress pants, but most sneakers don't, and I really think that it's a timeless design. It's a very streamlined design. It really does work well and is flattering for most guys. So definitely recommend these.
I think Lloyd has a bit of a beef with the shoe.
The only thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of when you pick a pair of these up is Chris did mention that these are a little bit more breathable. That's partly because they have these little eyelets here, or holes, whatever you call it. Are these called eyelets?
I think these are eyelets, but that kind of looks like an eyelet.
Yeah.
But anyways, holes.
These holes here on the side, they do allow for better breathability, but just be aware that this is an opportunity for an insect to infiltrate your shoe. And just to be clear, this has actually happened to me. I had a pair of Chuck Taylors on, and I felt a very painful sensation on the bottom of my foot, and so I took off my shoe. I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought maybe I had pulled something, and it turns out that a wasp decided to climb into one of these holes, and I suppose the movement caused the wasp to freak out and try to escape by stinging the bottom of my foot. And as long as you're okay with that risk, I definitely recommend these shoes.
Be warned, don't wear these shoes around wasps or bees or other insects. But other than that, I think these are a great shoe.
I can't disagree with that. All right, so for my second pick, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. These aren't exactly pure white shoes, and this is another obvious choice. I just love icons. It is the Nike Killshot,
aka the meme shots.
Yes. So these are the navy blue ones that were. I purchased these at the J. Crew store in LA when I was there 2 years ago. Maybe it was 3 years ago. And that's actually kind of a bit of a story on this. Like, these shoes were not really a limited release, but it was a Nike collaboration with J. Crew, and they just kind of reached cult status, and they were essentially hyped up and always sold out and impossible to find. So I was really excited when I walked into the J. Crew men's store in what's that mall in LA?
The Grove?
Yeah, the Grove. I was in the Grove. They had like the J. Crew men's store, and I remember escaping from my wife and child to just check that store out, and I was just surprised to see that they had a full-size run of these, and so I picked it up, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, by the way, I should be clear, these shoes are now no longer just a J. Crew and J. Crew exclusive. If you go on J. Crew, they have full-size runs, so they're fully available now. You can also buy them on Nike.com. They also have other colorways now, so the navy was the first, but now they have these in green, in a burgundy, and even a black.
Yeah. They are a little bit different than the versions that Lloyd and I have. So I have the burgundy, this kind of a Euro exclusive with the mesh. They also have the J. Crew ones. The new ones, actually, the gum sole is a lot lighter compared to these ones in color. The navy swoosh feels darker, if I recall, and the gum sole is a lot lighter. So I prefer this darker gum. I'm not sure why Nike made some changes. So there's a couple versions out there.
So what do I like about these shoes? First of all, basically what Chris just mentioned, it's the gum soles. It just adds a little bit of character to the shoes. It's a little bit more retro, old school vibe. And I think that works really well more in a kind of a preppy type of an environment. So these are pretty versatile too. They work well with chinos, jeans. They probably aren't really good for being dressed up though because of the gum sole and just the different layers of texture. So you have this suede or nude, and of course you have the swoosh in navy. So there's definitely a little bit too much texture here for this to be a dressed up shoe in my opinion, but still super comfortable. It just really has a lot of character, and again, I love the silhouette. So you'll notice I have a bit of a thing for kind of like that flat toe box. Again, very flat, from kind of like a width perspective, a relatively narrow without being skinny shoe. To really contrast this, I bought another classic, the Superstar. They look like the spaceship, right? Like it just looks massive, right? The toe box, and you know, if you look at them from the top, they actually look like they're roughly the same size. It looks a little bit chunkier, but it wears completely different. Like the back, because it comes up over here and there's a lot more cushioning, what you get is when you're wearing pants that come down to your shoe, it'll start breaking a lot more, and it just won't have that kind of clean aesthetic. So I basically don't wear these. If I was doing like if it was Halloween and maybe I was dressing up as Run DMC, that might be the only time.
I was thinking that exactly, actually. Without laces, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, these are the Killshots. They run true to size.
Yeah.
So I'm a size 8 and I'm a size 8 in the Killshots. But yeah, I think these are a great shoe. A bit more of a casual shoe, but definitely if you're more of a casual guy, if you're more of a jeans type of guy, this just works perfect. It looks super good, especially with like a light wash jean. It looks really good. All right.
And that is the Nike Killshot 2. All right, so my second pick for an all-white sneaker is an odd choice. I thought I'd pick something that's a little bit different that has probably not been reviewed all that much. And this is the Adidas Supercourt, and it's the Home of the Classics version. So there are two versions out there. The Home of the Classics version is a little bit more high quality than the one you'll see at the stores that aren't that version. The main differences being that the leather is, I believe, higher quality on the Home of the Classics version. They've got nice detailing on the tongue here that really kind of gives it a unique look. A couple other things is that it does have this off-white sole and midsole, and the throat of the shoe is leather. So the ones that you'll see kind of retail have a synthetic material here, so it's not as luxurious. I mean, I've been just wearing this shoe quite a lot. It's really comfortable. It looks heavy, but it is quite comfortable. I think just the detailing is a little bit different than most Adidas shoes, right? They do look more kind of like luxurious in a way, right? With just the leather, the really buttery soft leather, the paneling of the leather, they're really the minimalist kind of design, but it still has that luxury look. It is chunky, a little bit chunkier. I know that's a bit of a trend right now, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shoe that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I just saw it. I saw it online, I think, first, and I was like, "Well, that looks like a pretty cool shoe." Try it on, and I love it. So this is the Adidas Supercourt Home of the Classics. Yeah, just a great shoe all around. Different than most other picks you'll see out there.
What I like about these shoes are that it's all white, right? And whereas like the Common Projects are also all white, but the risk with Common Projects, the Achilles anyway, is that it's so simple. It has the risk of looking a little sterile.
Yeah. And
you don't really have that effect here. It's a good balance because although it's basically one color, it's a monochrome white shoe. The textures and the layers add a little bit of character to it that I think allow it to have a little bit more, just to be a little bit more interesting and
more depth, right?
Yeah. So I like them, but I will say, depending on also like your height, what I've generally found is that as a shorter person, I do prefer narrower shoes. I've tried on chunkier shoes, which Chris mentioned are a little bit more on trend right now, which is true as I understand it. But with those shoes, it kind of has the effect of looking a little bit like I have boats on my feet, and I personally don't think I would wear these as much because of my height. And I think if you're a taller guy or if you have extremely long legs, and I think that the larger shoe can still work pretty well with you. But yeah, just a consideration to take into mind.
Yeah, and for these particular Home of the Classics version, once again, I'm usually a size 11, but funny enough, I went in size 10 in these shoes. They fit huge. I tried on the regular versions, and they fit about half a size big. So I think if you were looking for this particular version, I'd go a full size down. They fit gigantic, but once again, kind of an odd fringe pick, but I thought we'd bring a little bit something different that I've been wearing a lot in the summertime. It's the Adidas Home of the Classic Supercourt. Well, that about wraps up our video on why the white sneaker is an essential part of your wardrobe. Lloyd and I went over a total of 4 sneakers, but there are a ton out there. The ones that we went over today are just some of our favorites.
Like I said at the beginning, white shoes are just a great place to start the wardrobe, and I think we came up with a couple of good recommendations at different price points. So hopefully there's something in there that you might like. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list, so definitely there are other resources out there. And the main point we wanted to get across is that, you know, white shoes are definitely something that you should be considering if you don't have a good pair already, especially if you're kind of looking to switch up your wardrobe. So thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. And
please BMF. And goodbye. The end.
I thought we did the finger thing last
time.
Yeah.
Peace. Finger. Okay. The end.